What if I told you the smartest money advice wasn't created on Wall Street or by billionaires, but over 2,300 years ago? These ancient rules are still helping people build wealth today, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why most people stay broke while a few keep getting richer. These timeless principles come from an ancient strategist named Chanakya.
Okay, so how exactly did a 2,000-year-old Indian philosopher end up becoming the ultimate secret weapon for today's top corporate leaders? I mean, we're talking about a guy whose strategies quite literally built ancient empires. But what's wild is that those exact same tactics are being used right now, today, by modern managers to lead teams, build serious wealth, and navigate high-stakes corporate crises. Let's dive right into this explainer and figure it out.
You really have to ask yourself, in a world of totally unpredictable markets and just brutal competition, could ancient wisdom actually be the thing that saves your quarterly goals? Usually, we look straight to Silicon Valley for our management hacks, right? Not the 4th century BCE. But the reality is, human nature, power dynamics, and the basic rules of business survival, yeah, they honestly haven't changed a bit. Think about it like this. Imagine the structure of an ancient kingdom. You had a king, a treasury, and, of course, enemies. Now look at how that perfectly mirrors a modern corporation. You've got a CEO, a finance department, and market competitors. When we start translating ancient statecraft into modern business strategy, it unlocks this totally new playbook for managers. It's like a giant puzzle falling perfectly into place. So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the ancient corporate strategist, the Saptanga business model, some mantras for career success, the master of planning, and finally, crisis and ethical leadership. All right, jumping right into part 1, the ancient corporate strategist. We're talking about Chanakya, also known as Kautilya. He was the brilliant mind who engineered the rise of the massive Mauryan Empire way back around the 4th century BCE. And he wrote this text called the Arthashastra. Originally, it was a pretty ruthless, practical guidebook for kings, focusing on economics and military strategy. But today, it's basically the original MBA playbook, and it is highly respected by top consultants and business schools all over the world. Moving on to part 2, the Saptanga business model. So the Saptanga theory is the 7-fold framework that defines the absolutely essential elements of any successful state. And for a modern manager, the real takeaway here is that long-term success isn't just about having a charismatic leader at the top. It's all about building an interconnected system. If even one of these 7 pillars starts to weaken, the whole organization is at risk of collapsing. It's fascinating how these ancient terms map flawlessly to your daily operations. The Swami is your modern CEO. The Amatyas are your board of directors or wise advisors. Janapata is your market footprint and your people. Durg is your infrastructure. Then you have Kosha, which is your finance department. And Chanakya actually considered this more critical than the military because, let's face it, cash flow is king. Dand represents your internal compliance rules, kind of like a really precise HR audit. And finally, Mitra is your network of strategic partners. It's just a remarkably holistic corporate model straight out of antiquity. Which brings us to part 3, mantras for career success. Let's make this personal. Chanakya had this great rule: never share your secrets, keep your plans until execution. Now, if you were sitting on a brilliant new project idea, or maybe you're gunning for a big promotion, definitely take note here. He strongly advised that revealing your strategy way too early just invites unnecessary criticism, or worse, competitive sabotage. Working quietly until your results can speak for themselves, that is a massive competitive advantage in our hyper-connected offices today. In fact, before you even start that secret project, Chanakya demands you run through a very strict mental checklist. You have to literally hit the pause button and ask yourself,
Why am I doing this? What will be the actual outcome? And realistically, am I likely to succeed? Running through this pre-action audit stops you from making emotionally driven decisions and ensures your daily grind is actually hitting those big picture goals. He also heavily championed merit over lineage. In an ancient world where birthright was literally everything, Chanakya was out there teaching that a man is great by his deeds, not by birth. For us, this means that continuously upgrading your skills is hands down your best defense against layoffs or sudden market shifts. A relentless focus on education and a strong work ethic are assets that absolutely no economic downturn can take away from you. All right, let's head into part 4, the master of planning. According to Chanakya, wealth and project success rarely just happen by chance. They require really disciplined design. You've got to set crystal clear targets because, as he put it, without a target, there's no triumph. You also absolutely must prepare backup strategies so you don't panic when the inevitable obstacles hit. You need to manage your time fiercely to kill procrastination, recruit trustworthy people, and above all, you've got to stay flexible. A great manager always knows exactly when it's time to pivot. And finally, we're at part 5, crisis and ethical leadership. Chanakya argued that ethical governance starts strictly from within. True leadership requires profound self-control. Think about it. If a manager can't govern their own emotions, their greed, or their anger, there's no way they'll ever gain the trust and stability needed to lead anyone else. You absolutely must rule yourself before you can even attempt to rule a corporation. And when a crisis does hit, the Arthashastra offers a very clear playbook. If you're facing an external attack, say a sudden PR nightmare or a fierce new competitor, you need to strengthen your defenses, heavily leverage your allies, and gather aggressive intelligence. But what if the threat is internal, like corporate corruption or embezzlement? Then you root it out with secret investigations, fair punishment, and the immediate replacement of dishonest officials. The key is to stay calm, use diplomacy first, but always act decisively. Which brings us to perhaps his most powerful lesson for modern managers. No one can defeat a powerful mind. During those high-pressure corporate storms, your emotional resilience, your calm under fire, and your absolute clarity of thought, those are your ultimate differentiators. That mental stability is literally what separates a decent manager from an invincible leader. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final challenge. Take a hard look at your own management style. Are your strategies, your ethics, and your self-discipline strong enough to survive the next quarter, let alone the next 2,000 years? Take this ancient wisdom right into your next boardroom presentation and let it completely redefine how you lead.